And we want to make sure that when we do these punches that we're keeping our arms tucked by our side. So you're going to hear this nice gi rubbing against the sides of the gi. So you hear this nice snap. One, that ensures that your drive of your punch is all going forward. And Hi there everyone, this is Sensei Sarah with Global Martial Arts University, and I am going to be doing a series starting this month on common corrections in the Heian katas. So for September we're going to be working on Heian Shodan, October Heian Nidan, and then I believe I have a month off. December would be Heian Sandan, and so forth and so on until we get through all the Heian katas. So today we're going to start with Heian Shodan, like I mentioned, and I do want to note that some of these are stylistic differences, and so I'll make sure to point that out. Some of them are true corrections that I often give when I'm grading yellow belt exams, especially for Heian Shodan. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing I want to mention is a formal intro, and then at the end we'll talk about the formal exit from the kata. So we begin the kata, bow, shizen tai, and announce your kata. Heian Shodan! Then we're going to begin. So the first correction I often make is on that gidan wind-up. What I see a lot of is bringing hands up, one-handed wind-up, just all different ways of doing it. So what we want to do is we want to capture this linear nature of the wind-up, but we also want to make sure that we're providing full protection for our torso. So the way to do that is to execute basically a cross gidan punch as you bring the other hand to your ear for the wind-up. So for example, at the beginning of the kata, we look left, then, so to do it slowly, then we're going to open up that Zenkutsu stance, and the first thing we're going to do is target. So you can have a closed-handed target or you can have an open-handed target. The important thing is this is a Chudan punch, so we want to make sure that we are targeted center and at the stomach area if there were an opponent in front of us. Following this, we go into our Oizuki. And we want to make sure that when we do these punches that we're keeping our arms tucked by our side. So you're going to hear this nice gi rubbing against the sides of the gi. So you hear this nice snap. One, that ensures that your drive of your punch is all going forward and that you don't have an elbow flare. If you don't hear that nice rubbing sound, that most likely means that you have an elbow flare in your punch. That weakens the punch, one, and it doesn't allow you to extend a punch if you're jammed. So if I have an elbow flare, this ends up being my punch if I'm jammed. If I keep my elbows tucked, even if I can't turn it over, I can still get a full strike in. So you want to practice all your punches with your arms tucked by your side, your Oizuki, your Gyakuzuki. All right, so from there, we're going to turn back behind us. What I see a lot here is extra steps. So maybe some extra steps in there, or a narrowing of the Zenkutsu. So a lot of times on that turn. So the way that we can avoid the extra steps and the narrowing of the Zenkutsu is we're going to pull the front leg or the right leg back to the left leg and shoot it out behind us. If you notice, I keep the nice wide Zenkutsu just like I had on the other side. Now from here, a lot of times I correct the stance here. So the idea here, we're about to go into a Tetsu Uchi, but we go into Renoji Dachi stance. So Renoji Dachi stance is an L stance. It's called Renoji because that is the character. That's what that character looks like, is the way that your feet end up. So the idea here is you're being grabbed by the wrist. You're going to pull up and in, breaking that hold, and then dynamically striking. So that's the other correction I often make on this, is the nature of the strike. So a lot of times I get kind of like this, no real wind up. We want this to come up and over, so it could strike either top of the head, bridge of the nose, or the clavicle, depending on the height and the distance of your opponent. So again, we pull up and in, dynamic strike. And then go into that punch, making sure that we keep the arm tucked next to the gi. So from here, we're going front, and as we go up into our agi uke, we want to keep in mind, we want those fingers nice and tucked together. So we're going to have an open hand at first, one, this looks nicer, and two, we don't risk any loose fingers getting caught on a gi or technique. So from here, closed, open, tight, closed with a kia, making sure that we kia on the movement. And when we kia, this is the culmination of breath, spirit, and power. So we want to give it its due diligence. We want to just take a second there and not just roll right into the next technique. So we want to make sure that this is a special moment in the kata. Hey! Then from here, we want to go nice and around, making sure we keep that zenkutsu nice and wide again. So the final correction that I have to make a lot is on the kokutsu stance, specifically on the weight distribution of it. Because what happens is, as people go through all 4 kokutsus, they tend to get higher and higher in their stance and less of the proper weight distribution. So to show you what I'm talking about, what often happens is, this will be a pretty nice kokutsu dachi. Then from here, it starts to come up higher and higher, and the weight shifts more and more forward until people are about 50-50 or even more forward than they are in the back. What we want to aim for is staying all at one level, keeping that weight distribution the same on all 4 kokutsu dachi. Then from here, rather than just standing up, I'm finished with my kata, we want to make sure that we end our kata with a nice formal ending. And that is Heian Shodan and the typical corrections that I have for it. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to message me, and have a great day.